Hey everyone, Just Sports with John. Hey, just wanted to talk to you guys about the NBA Hall of Fame today. Before we get started, just a reminder: Facebook, Just Sports with John, and also YouTube, Just Sports with John. So please check me out on both of those. On YouTube, please subscribe, and on Facebook, please like and share. Share, you guys. Share these, for people to get into Facebook, and please share the YouTube videos if you like them. Please comment as well, and definitely subscribe. So, with that being said, let me get right to today's topic. So, NBA Hall of Fame: Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Kim Mulkey, um, and then I'm forgetting who else we have here. Let me take a quick look. Oh yes, Tamika Catchings. Just, superior class. This class is going to arguably one of the best all time. Might be the best all time, but definitely up there. The group is just amazing. My personal favorite is Tim Duncan. As some of you know, I grew up kind of a Spurs fan. Ironically, not anything to do with Texas, not anything to do with anything really with Spurs. I just grew up liking Greg Popovich and the way they run that team. I was a Jazz fan for a long time, and the Spurs took off of what the Jazz wanted to do, but they did it in a more complex sense in a way. So I just became a Spurs fan because I loved the way they played basketball. And Tim Duncan, was a huge part of that. Before that, David Robinson. But I think Tim Duncan really embodied what the Spurs are all about, and he had a lot of success with them, and just one of my all-time favorite players. And you knew probably even midway through Duncan's career he was going to be in the Hall of Fame. Just loved everything about that, and you don't see. There's very very few big men like that today in the way the game's played. You don't really see it. So that's one of the things I really appreciate. With my background being big time in basketball, and then of course Kobe Bryant. What a tragic loss, obviously, and I think a lot of the outside sports world doesn't realize just how much he was doing. He was kind of becoming the next Jordan, if you will, in the sense of his impact, not only on the NBA world, but the outside world coming into the NBA, and especially with the women's game. I think that's the big thing that a lot of people don't realize is, we heard a lot more after his death about it. He was in a helicopter, unfortunately, with his daughter, and they were going to a game. They were going to a tournament, I believe it was, and with all the other people in that helicopter, unfortunately. And but Bryant was pushing women's sports. He was getting more males to at least take a look at it, and he was going to be big in that regard. I think, especially as his daughter worked towards that, and probably would have gotten into that. So that's a huge loss. That's a huge loss for the WNBA. Huge loss for women's basketball, and the impact that he's had. And to watch him grow too as a person has been very interesting. I was not a big fan of his coming out, and over the course of his NBA years, I wasn't that big of a fan of his. But I gotta say, like in the last few years of his NBA career, he was really turning a corner, and he really, and I think parenthood really helped him along with that. Helped him to see like not just him and himself internally, but sharing that gift and that knowledge and all that. And it's just a shame. It's just a shame that somebody like that is gone. And then Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett's really interesting. I think at one time, especially early in his career, you wouldn't have thought of him maybe making Hall of Fame. He was kind of stuck on those Minnesota teams, and then he went over to the Celtics, won a championship, and he's another one where like later half of his career he kind of turned the corner and really dedicated himself to it. And he always had the talent, but he really turned into sort of a leader, in the later part of his career. So, he definitely deserves it. All three of them can't argue. You know, I wouldn't imagine anybody would argue them at all about that. So, all very good candidates, all very deserving. What's really good for me to see is two of them are big men. I don't know how much of that we're going to see in the future, and here we have two, so that's really nice to see. And Tamika Catchings, great player for the Vols. I've actually from Tennessee, and I don't like UT, but I can't argue with like Pat Summitt. I always enjoyed watching Pat Summitt teams. They were always so dang good, and they should have had more championships. Especially those years against UConn. UConn just came in and was able to really capture women's sports. But man, those battles, Tamika Catchings, probably the high time of Tennessee Lady Vols, and really embodied what Pat Summitt wanted to do, and she was the player that really helped her build those teams up and really push towards making those championship runs and all that kind of thing. So Tamika Catchings, one of the best female basketball players out there. And then I was a little surprised to see Kim Mulkey in this already. I'm not surprised she's going to be in the Basketball Hall of Fame. I think she was definitely, again, definitely you could argue her in there. I kind of thought it was a little soon for her, but I'm not going to argue it. I think her record speaks for itself. I mean, she's won, let's see here, 3 times in NCAA championship for Baylor. And, outside of UConn and Tennessee, there's just not, a whole lot of teams that have that kind of record built up. And she's just been a solid winner. She's probably been, outside of Junior Army, Jean, the UConn women's coach, his name's just escaping me at the moment. And Pat Summitt, she's probably one of the biggest next all-time winning coaches. So, there's that. But great class, very great class. I spent way too much time on this video, but get me talking about basketball, and that's what's going to happen. So, see you guys. Make comments, and don't forget to like on Facebook and share YouTube and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.